Good afternoon, everybody. It's Tuesday, so you know that it means it's time for Q&A with the Family Support Department at the St. Louis Arc. We are celebrating Volunteer Appreciation Month this month and have our wonderful volunteer coordinator and an even more wonderful volunteer. I've been told that today is all about exclamation points, so I'm going to have those in all my conversational points. So without further ado, I'm going to have Megan and Molly introduce themselves. So we'll start with you, Megan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Megan Eater, and I am the volunteer manager with the St. Louis Arc. I coordinate volunteer opportunities, internship opportunities, community engagement opportunities. So a lot of outreach from the St. Louis Arc and to the St. Louis Arc. I have been in this role for 3 years and am very honored and grateful for all the support we've had throughout the years and excited to always celebrate our volunteers this month, especially, but of course, always throughout the year. Molly has joined us today. Molly, go ahead and tell us about you.
Thank you, Megan. Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Eifert. I've been volunteering with the ARC since about fall of last year, 2021. And I'm excited to share my experience and continue to learn more and grow with the ARC.
Awesome. I love that. All right, Megan, I'm sorry. Before you share your presentation, you know, I always want to explain to people that when you work at the ARC, you may have many lifetimes of work at the ARC. So prior to working in the volunteer role, what were some of the other things that you did?
Yes, so I began at the ARC working in the Employment Services Department. So I had the opportunity to support individuals who were looking for employment, creating their career goal paths, support in and out of their employment settings, and just a lot of various other hats employment. So I transferred over 3 years ago to volunteering, and now I have the opportunity to support a lot of people who want to help to support the individuals of the ARC.
Cool. And honestly, I think volunteering is such a great way to build your employment skills. There's a nice crossover there. Yes. Well, Megan, I'm going to turn things over to you so you can go ahead and pull up your presentation. And everybody, when you see an exclamation point in the Canva presentation, go, woo, and we'll celebrate together.
When you see this on the screen. Okay. So happy Volunteer Appreciation Month.
Woo!
Again, this is a dedicated time to celebrate the volunteers of the St. Louis Arc for their many years of support in various ways for individuals and programs of so many capacities. We couldn't do it without all of you, your talents, just what you provide to so many people. So thank you to all of you. Volunteering has looked a lot of different ways over the last 2 years. We've been very grateful that we've been able to continue to offer a variety of programs and opportunities for individuals, and are so thankful for the volunteers who have continued to participate throughout that time, whether it was virtually, whether it was in person, safely, donating so many just sweet and personal things to individuals and programs. There's just been a lot of different ways that programs have come up with what supports look like. And so here you can see what cooking class looked like throughout the pandemic, just always making sure to capture what was going on. That way everybody at home could still participate.
Hey, Megan, in that picture, how many of those people are volunteers?
We have 2 volunteers and the program leader there.
Wonderful, thank you.
Coordinator there. So we have several people who are videotaping, monitoring Zoom, volunteers who were at home as well on Zoom who would monitor the chat and make sure that questions were being answered and steps were being followed. but still able to make the experience happen. It just looked a lot differently. Book club was welcomed back this last fall. We used to have the event taking place in the community, but we offered it at the St. Louis Arc this last year. And so all of the bookworm volunteers came to just continue to help with reading and learning different stories and practice different readings together, just in smaller groups. And then we had various groups donate party boxes for residents. Here we have the Normandy High School alumni create New Year's Eve party boxes for residents. So they got together and made up a bunch of just special treats for New Year's Eve and packaged them all up and brought them to the Arc, and we delivered those to residents to enjoy on New Year's Eve. So
Can I ask a question about that one?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm curious, like with an activity like that, do people approach you and say, we'd like to be able to offer something to make this holiday special? Or do you put out some sort of outreach saying this is what we're looking for?
Yeah, so at the start of the pandemic and kind of looking at how can we still incorporate volunteerism and what that could look like maybe from home, I came up with the idea to create party boxes for residents. So it could be holiday themed, it could be birthday, movie night, just something fun, all wrapped up in a box. So we've had different holiday themed boxes, birthday gift bags. And so I had the opportunity shared through our various outreach websites, and the Normandy High School group, the contact, she got a hold of me and saw the post and thought that was something that their team was also working on, was different community outreaches. And so they, kind of worked on this together, came up with the idea. I told them to, go for it, personalize it however you'd like. So on their side, they got together with a small group and made all the baskets, and I joined them on Zoom as they were making them. So they had a fun night of it and were able to bring those in and meet them, but still not able to have that direct interaction, but still an interaction in a strong way with what they created, and then having our residents enjoy those for New Year's. So our volunteers who've participated in all of our ongoing opportunities, you really made so much happen over the last 2 years and into this year with all of the programs. We've also been able to host our groups and corporate groups and student group volunteers in the last year. Last summer, we kicked off quite a few yard work events. So some of our groups helped out at our residential homes with planting new plants, adding new mulch, just helping to clean up the yard. And we also had our Chaminade families come back after 2 years and help decorate outside this year. This was the first time they ever decorated outside. Typically, we would have volunteers go inside and help decorate the tree or make cookies. So we switched it up this last year, and they were able to decorate outside and just add a lot of fun decorations, lights, things like that. And then all of our yard work volunteers just really enjoyed getting out, and some of them hadn't met each other yet. Some people were new to their own teams. So I overheard a lot of people say, oh, I haven't met, it's great to meet you for the first time. And I think, it was a lot of ways group building for them too. But, these were 2 new groups that I hadn't worked with yet this time. Just a lot of great support, a lot of, new connections, and a lot of really nice looking yards for residents. So very grateful.
You know what? And everybody needed that when you were stuck at home, to have a really nice yard to walk through, a good view out your window. It was really an important thing. So how great.
Yeah. And so this was Ravo Financial in the top left corner. That was where a lot of the new employees were on the team. We also had our US Bank volunteers come in and gift wrap for the Giving Tree. I believe it was their 9th year this last December. So great to see them. We had Safety National come out. In the bottom right corner is Missouri Water. So they had all the tools already in their trucks, and one guy even had a relative a few doors down. He went and got a lawnmower. I mean, they just loved it and just really went all out. And I just always just have, the best time with our yard work events, because you just never know who might have a relative who lives next door with a lawnmower. So it's not in my description, but it was just really nice to see all that take place and enjoy that time with them. So definitely looking forward to more groups coming back, and thankful for all the groups who reached out to help. So creative volunteering, kind of like what I mentioned about the amazing, donations that we've received. The party boxes was something that I had shared out for a lot of, for anyone to help out with, whether it's a small family or a large group of people. I, just leave it up to them and what they would like to do. So here we have some birthday bags that were donated, some Halloween treats that were donated, and then our greeting cards, which have been amazing. I've received cards from all over the United States, just from people that I don't know, who have written and drawn and colored the most just sweetest cards. You didn't know you'd get so emotional just seeing a card, but it just really, it really just means a lot. And I've been able to share those with a lot of programs, and you can hand those out all year long and years to come by how many I've received. So just sweet notes from people who've said, I really enjoyed doing this, and my family and I worked on this together, or students who, worked on this as a class. So, these are all things that I've continued to share. So if groups, want to create this and volunteer in this type of way, it's still very meaningful to so many people. So just another shout out to all the creative volunteering that we have.
Woo!
Woo! New volunteer roles. So the last year also welcomed a few new volunteer roles within the St. Louis Self Advocates group. The St. Louis Self Advocates is a group for individuals with disabilities who self-lead all of the discussions about advocacy rights and personal topics and discussions. Volunteers are able to sit in and listen and learn from our individuals, help participate in any projects that they might have. There's board members. They've had a lot of votes for board members and running for board positions, a lot of work with legislation and talking with legislators and getting their voices heard. And so our volunteers have, been very interested in being a part of this group and learning more from the self advocates. And so
one thing I love about that group is that most of the volunteers are very similar age. So they're all people in their teens and 20s that are really passionate about stuff. And I think it's such a nice connection when they're working together.
Right. And a huge shout out to our students, our interns who've been with the ARC for the last 2 years, who helped in creating and helped with guiding and learning and just being there and being a part for the advocates and new volunteers who are just eager to learn more and to listen and to just be supportive. So this is an ongoing opportunity as well. Our Sunday Fun Day, which is a new returning after a few years opportunity. So this is a fun day on a Sunday once a month. There's all kinds of themes. This was a party last summer that on a Sunday and come out and hang out with residents and enjoy who knows what kind of party theme. Sometimes it's baseball watch party or a cookout. This was a Aloha themed event. So all kinds of craft activities, games, good food, good fun. So that's another new role that we have. We are returning back to some of our programs that we haven't had in the last 2 years. So our bowling leagues have come back. That kicked off in February. So a lot of the bowlers were so excited to get back. I know when I visited, the place was just so exciting, woo, and happy, and just to see everybody again and bowl. So this is something that we have that's back, that's going to be happening through the summer as well. And then dances will kick off in May. So we'll have our Dance Club South and our Dance Club 1240. So again, I'm sure everybody is excited to get back to the dance floor and see people and reconnect. So 2 really fun programs that we haven't been able to have for a while. They've been virtual. We've had a lot of volunteers still dancing in their living rooms. So just, thankful for all their support, and we're, thankful to be back safely and enjoy these fun times. Thank you so much for all that you do, volunteers. It's looked different, it's maybe felt different, but it still is the same in our hearts, and for what you do and what it means to so many. So I've been so grateful for all the new volunteers that we've had throughout the last 2 years, and your time just meeting new people can, feels a lot different virtually, and, not having that same type of feeling of impact. But I know I've seen some of you in person. Molly, I saw you for the first time last Monday in person. So, wherever you are, however you're volunteering, it's meant a lot. And we just really couldn't do it without you. And it's just very meaningful. And again, we're just very grateful for all that you do. Yeah, so to volunteer, we have all kinds of opportunities coming up this spring and summer. This spring and summer is packed with opportunities for all kinds of programs, our music classes, golf, walking club. If you're a group volunteer and you're interested in supporting, we can, talk about what group volunteering looks like, and, helping out with one of our residential yard works, and, what
maybe a kickball tournament is in the making.
Hey, right. Something like that. And, we're slowly, easing into what the new volunteering looks like. And so reach out to me today, tomorrow, anytime to talk about volunteering, and we'll get you signed up.
Thank you, Megan. I love your presentation. It's so full of joy and happiness, and you can really see the impact of the volunteers have been having on our folks. So I just love it. Thank you so much. We've got several questions for you, but I'm going to hold those questions for just a minute. I promise you guys we're going to get to them, but I want to just welcome Molly and thank her for her volunteer work with us. And Molly, can you tell us a little bit about how you found the ARC, why you wanted to volunteer here?
Absolutely. Thank you. I found the ARC through the United Way. They have a search engine where you can search for volunteer opportunities, and everyone's coming out of their shell with COVID, and I'm one of those individuals that still work from home. So I wanted to find a way to kind of fill my time and volunteering is a great way to do that. So through the United Way, I found the St. Louis ARC, and I filled out a form on the website. And I feel like almost immediately I got a bright and shiny email from Megan. And she provided me with more information. We had an orientation. And I just feel like that process was really important, just to have that one-on-one sit down discussion with Megan. And she really laid out the foundation of what the company is and what we do and the history. And then, going into what kind of volunteer opportunities are available.
Excellent. And did you have any experience with people with disabilities?
I did not. I have some relatives that have some disabilities, but overall, I am just a bright and shiny good time. And I knew I could bring my energy and my patience and my compassion to this community, and I knew there would be a spot for me.
Absolutely. And, I think that's one of those myths that I like to make sure we dispel here, is that there is no special quality you have to connect and have a relationship with a person with a disability, because it's all about your openness to get to know new people. It's about your finding shared interest with people. So we want everybody to connect with us. So don't feel like you've got to have special skills. And I think Megan does a good job of explaining what you will and won't be expected to do when you're volunteering with us. So we're not going to put you in a position where you're doing something that you don't feel comfortable with. So which programs are you in, Molly?
Oh gosh, currently I'm hyper focused on the Cooking for Comfort program. Uh, and soon Walking Club is starting up, and I'm excited for Walking Club as well, because I'm a very outdoorsy gal. So, it doesn't take much to twist my arm to convince me to go on an evening walk. And I also really enjoy the St. Louis Scene program. Honestly, that's one of the hardest places to not pick everything that's going on. I mean, between going to museums and Dave and Buster's and the movies, I want to do it all. Uh, but currently, Cooking for Comfort is my most favorite. And I would say that's because we have no fail recipes. It's an opportunity for everyone to learn a little skill, learn the science behind cooking. And it has even inspired me to cook more, because I know I can do it and I've done it in the class. Yes, thank you.
It's true. All of our classes are open to anybody. And sometimes I don't think people realize that you're probably going to learn something too.
Yeah.
If you engage with us. Is there anything about volunteering with us that surprised you, or that maybe you've realized during the time you've been with us?
I don't want to say it was a surprise, but I really appreciate the fact that folks like Megan and Dan are eager to help me feel included, but there's not a lot of pressure to feel overwhelmed with, oh, I have to volunteer for everything. In fact, I've had conversations of, you know, we don't want to put too much on your plate. We don't want to burn you out. I think they understand I want to foster long-term relationships and be here for a while, and that, not to burn myself out. I don't have to do it all right now. So I appreciate that. And again, it's no surprise, but I'm just very grateful. It's a community that's very respectful of each other, respectful of our safety and the boundaries we implement. And we're just trying to be very inclusive. And that is just a really important aspect of all society, and especially within our own community, to give folks the grace and the kindness they deserve. So,
well, I can see why you picked Molly to come on board, Megan. What a lovely way to frame that. That's really, I love hearing that. I think that's all we all want, is to have those relationships that are built on mutual respect and kindness. And so, so hopefully that's inspiring to all of you to think about how, where might I want to offer my talents. And I love the fact that you're going to balance your time. Megan didn't mention it, but we almost always tell people we've had some volunteers with us over 30 years who have stayed with a specific sports program or a different activity, and it's become part of their lives. So we love it when we have a long-term volunteer. And you guys kind of alluded to this, but we've got a couple logistical questions about whether you have to do a minimum number of hours per month to volunteer. How old do you have to be to volunteer? Can you address some of those things?
We have a variety of opportunities with a variety of availability. So some of the programs are ongoing once a month. Some of them are consistent for maybe 4 to 5 weeks, for maybe an hour or two in the evening, just depending on what the event is. So when I meet new volunteers and we're going through orientation, and we're definitely talking about availability and what works best for you, and that's exactly what I offer and how I present, because we do want it to work for you. We want it to be comfortable and just what works best. So I let everybody just look through what we have going on and letting me know what works best, and we do a lot of confirmation and start there. If you want to start with something, just one event for the first time and see how things go, you can do that. If you want to sign up for 1 or 2 things, or maybe you just pick that one event and you return to that every year when it comes around. Like Sharon said, our volunteers who've been with us for 20, 30 years have volunteered in those roles for those years, and they've returned every summer out on the softball fields, basketball courts, and have grown up with everybody. So whatever works best for you in your time, to commit to those programs. We do have a lot of conversations about that before you sign up for your first event. And then volunteer age. So volunteer ages, you can be 12 to get started with volunteering. 12 to 16, you do have to have a guardian with you for various safety reasons and protocols within programs. We do have some of our programs are based off of different age levels. So we have some programs for teens, so our teen bowling, or self-advocates groups, some special events that we have during the summer, Teens in Motion and Neighborhood Experiences. Sometimes they have events. So we can kind of, compare those ages with an event that works with you. And then at 18 and older, we do complete background checks for volunteers. So 12 and older, if it's a family that wants to volunteer together, if it's a group, sometimes we have student groups that come from, different levels of grade school and high school. We just want to make sure it's the right fit for you and something you're interested in doing. I don't want to just put a volunteer in a place that we have that's open just because it's open. I want it to be meaningful for you, and you're completely right. You do not have to be a golf pro to help out with golf, or a gardener to help out in the yard work. It's just about that engagement with individuals and just being open and supportive.
This is sort of an interesting question. Somebody wants to know if we have a lot of staff that volunteer. I think that might be a surprise answer.
We do have staff that volunteer. We have staff that volunteer in various programs. We have several staff that help out with our virtual esports event. We have staff that help out through our special events as well, that are hosted through the ARC. But if you're staff and you want to volunteer, you're welcome to do so. We can, again, find an opportunity that you would like to help out with.
Yeah, I always think it's so interesting when I know that people are working a full-time job with us, but still pursuing a passion for volunteering and keeping that within the ARC. I know that we've got people maybe that work in residential, but volunteer as coaches or in a class, which is a totally different thing than what their day job is. So it's kind of cool to see those opportunities come up.
Yeah, and we have volunteers where we have staff that help with program leading and various, scene events and Sunday Fun Day and bowling, and we have some staff that were previous ARC employees who have retired, who are, our program leaders at bowling now. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get involved.
Love it. So much transitional opportunity there. Molly, I'll start with you. Thank you so much for giving us this half hour and for giving us all the time that you offer in those different sessions. Tell anything else you want to add to share with people that are listening. Go for it.
As a volunteer, I feel very appreciated and very much a part of the community and a part of the ARC family when I'm there. And I highly encourage anyone to step up and go for it. It's a fun time. There's no pressure. You're always supported by staff, and just go and hang out and have a good time.
Just another thank you to everybody, through all of our volunteers from all of the years, whether it's consistently one time, a donation, however it is that you've given back. We appreciate you. We know that it means a lot. It does mean a lot, and we're just grateful for your time and what you've provided. And I'm just have the pleasure of working with you all and meeting new people every day that want to help. Thank you! Exclamation point.
Okay, I always get the last word. So I just want to say that one thing I want to make sure people understand is that we just really couldn't do what we do without volunteers. And I think it takes our programs from being good programs to being great programs, because our budget doesn't allow us to provide as much staff support in some areas as we'd like to. And when you add an extra person, you've got one more person that can have a one-on-one interaction. You've got one more person that brings their skill set. So it's just, it's incredibly important to us, and we're so very thankful for you. So from my heart, I want to thank all our volunteers. Have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.